You know, we all talk about stress. We feel it, we complain about it, but do we really get it? In this explainer, we're going to flip the script on stress. We'll see it not as this big bad villain we have to defeat, but as this incredibly powerful system that's built right into our biology, a system we can actually learn to work with. So, let's dive in.
First things first, let me ask you a question. When you think about your health, do you think of yourself as being truly healthy? Or is it more like you're just not sick? It sounds like the same thing, but it's not. And that gap right there between those two ideas, that's exactly where stress does its most damaging work. A lot of times, without us even noticing.
You know, the way we even think about health has changed so much. It used to be this simple binary thing, kind of like a light switch. You were either sick or you were healthy. That's it. Then, back in 1948, the World Health Organization gave us this much bigger, more complete picture. But now we've moved even beyond that. We see health as this dynamic journey, something that's always in motion.
And this is that journey, the illness-wellness continuum. What this shows us is that just not having symptoms, well, that's just the neutral point. That's zero. Real wellness, the good stuff, is an active process. It's about all the choices we're making every single day that move us toward growth, toward actually thriving, not just getting by.
So, what's the biggest force that's constantly trying to pull us away from that wellness side of the spectrum? For most of us, it's stress. And if we want to manage it, we have to start by understanding the body's ancient and seriously powerful alarm system. Now, check out this definition. What's so wild about it is that it doesn't say stress is a thing or an event. It says it's a relationship. It's all about how you perceive a situation. Do you feel like the demands of this moment are bigger than the resources you have to handle it? That personal appraisal is everything. It's why one person finds public speaking totally thrilling, and for another, it's an absolute nightmare.
And that personal appraisal leads us straight to the two faces of stress. First, you've got eustress. That's the good stuff. It's that jolt of excitement before a big game that actually sharpens your focus and makes you perform better. Then there's distress. That's the opposite. It's that chronic, grinding pressure that just drains you, causes anxiety, and burns you out. The body's initial reaction is kind of similar for both, but the context, and crucially how long it lasts, is what makes one helpful and the other so destructive. So let's say your brain decides something is a threat, whether it's a crazy deadline at work or a car cutting you off in traffic. What happens next? How does a single thought kick off such a massive, full-body physical reaction? Well, it all follows this super fast chain of command called the HPA axis. Just think of it like a three-person relay race. First, your hypothalamus, that's command central in your brain, spots the threat and passes the first baton, a chemical signal called CRH. That signal zips over to the pituitary gland, which then grabs it and releases its own messenger, ACTH, into your bloodstream. And that second baton travels all the way down to your adrenal glands, which sit right on top of your kidneys.
And that final handoff, that's what unleashes the big one. Cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. Suddenly, it's flooding your entire system to get you ready for action. It jacks up your blood sugar for instant energy, sharpens your focus, and slams the brakes on anything that's not essential for immediate survival, like digestion. It's your body's ultimate all-hands-on-deck signal, and it's brilliant for surviving a short-term crisis.
But here's the catch. That entire alarm system was designed to deal with short-term dangers, like running from a saber-toothed tiger. The problem is, in our modern world, the tigers are endless work emails, financial worries, and 24/7 news cycles. They never really go away. So what happens? What's the hidden cost when that alarm bell is just ringing and ringing and ringing?
Scientists have a fancy name for it, allostatic load. But honestly, the best way to think of it is just wear and tear. Every single time that stress alarm goes off, your body has to scramble to find its balance again. And when that happens over and over, day in and day out, that constant strain starts to wear down the machinery. Things start to break.
And this isn't just one little thing. That wear and tear hits practically every system you've got. Your cardiovascular system gets strained, which can lead to high blood pressure. Your immune system gets suppressed, so you catch every cold that goes around. It messes with your metabolism, your digestion, your memory, even your reproductive health. It is a truly full-body problem.
And the data on this is pretty stark. The link between long-term stress and long-term disease is crystal clear. For instance, some research shows that people who report the highest levels of stress have a massively increased risk, we're talking 40% or more, of having a heart attack or a stroke compared to people with low stress. This isn't just about feeling bad.
It has real, physical, life and death consequences.
And it's not just your body taking a hit, it's your brain too. Being constantly bathed in cortisol can actually damage parts of your brain like the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory. This is what leads to that awful brain fog so many of us feel under pressure. It messes with your memory, your attention, your ability to make good decisions, and it cranks up the volume on irritation and those negative thought loops that just go round and round.
Okay, that was a lot of bad news. But here is the most important part of this whole conversation. We are not helpless here. We are not just passive victims of our own biology. We can absolutely learn to manage this stuff by shifting from a knee-jerk reaction to a thoughtful response. So it's time to build our toolkit. So what do we even mean when we say coping? The most critical thing to understand is that it's not about getting rid of stress. That's impossible. It's a part of life. Coping is the active skill set, the thoughts we choose, the actions we take, the strategies we use to handle the demands that stress puts on us.
Now, not all coping strategies are the same, and the secret is using the right tool for the job. If the stressor is something you can actually change, like a crushing workload, then you use problem-focused coping. You make a to-do list. You delegate. You tackle the problem head-on. But if the stressor is something you can't control, like grieving a loss, trying to solve it is pointless. That's when you need emotion-focused coping, managing your feelings by talking to a friend, going for a run, or meditating.
Okay, let's get super practical. What are some actual tools you can put in your toolkit, like today? Cognitively, you can challenge those automatic negative thoughts. Instead of, I'm gonna fail, try, I'm gonna do my best. Behaviorally, even 5 minutes of deep breathing or a quick walk can work wonders. Emotionally and socially, connect with people. And I can't say this enough, prioritize your sleep. It is one of the most powerful stress management superpowers we have.
And what's really fascinating is that a lot of these effective strategies work because they tap into one of 3 deep psychological needs we all have. Autonomy, which is our need for a sense of control, competence, the need to feel like we're effective and good at stuff, and relatedness, our fundamental need for connection. Next time you feel stressed, just ask yourself, which one of these 3 needs is being threatened right now? The answer will often point you straight to the right tool.
So you see, managing stress isn't just about damage control. It's not about getting back to that neutral point on the scale. It's about using these tools to actively build health and push ourselves all the way over into a state of thriving. This all points to this really powerful shift in thinking. For basically all of history, medicine has been focused on something called pathogenesis, which is just a fancy way of asking, why do people get sick? But there's a newer, much more empowering way to look at it called cellulogenesis, and it asks a totally different question. What creates health? What are the resources and strengths that help us stay well even when we're facing major stressors? And that brings us right back to where we started. Health is not just about what's missing, the absence of a cough or a diagnosis. It's about what's present. It's about a sense of vitality, connection, and purpose. It is the active, ongoing presence of well-being. Aaron Antonovsky, the sociologist who came up with this whole idea, he put it perfectly. When we shift our focus from only worrying about our risks and we start actively building up our resources, we fundamentally change the entire game. So I'll leave you with this question. Don't think about some massive life overhaul. Just think about today. What is one small, simple, actionable choice you can make to start moving yourself away from that neutral point and toward that high-level wellness end of the spectrum?